You want to know what it takes to be an athlete? Healthy mind, healthy body.
This is Marcin Migdal from Active TV Networks and YoungEntrepreneursHub.com. Today is amazing. We've got my friend Trevor Bodogh. I claim that I have discovered him in the basement of one of my rentals back a couple of years ago, but you know, he may have a different opinion on that. Before we get to Trevor, I'm just gonna talk about a book that I read, Start Late, Finish Rich. I recommend it. It's by David Bach. Go in chapters or Google it or go somewhere. Without further ado, we've got Trevor Bodogh. He is a professional athlete. He's been involved in several internet-based ventures. He's been on the Dragon's Den. Trevor, welcome. Take a minute or two to introduce yourself. Tell us about your educational background, how you got started in your business. Tell us all about your company.
Thank you for welcoming me here. This is good. My first interview, hopefully first of many. So this is good. So my name's Trevor Bodogh. I'm an extreme athlete from St. Catharines, Ontario. 24 years old. So what am I doing right now? A couple things. One is called Bike, and that's me and a friend of mine. We've come up with our own bike company. Very niche, very difficult, very hard to run and get traction, as we speak about when we're starting up a business. So these bikes are very special. They're of our own design, own colors, own geometry, everything like that. You can check it out at metabike.com. And the other half of me is extreme athlete. So what I do is I do promo, marketing, entertainment, inspirational bike shows. And you can find me in nightclubs, schools, public events, corporate meetings, things like that.
What do you do at these clubs with your bike?
Whatever the promoter wants me to do. So if they want me to ride on giant BlackBerry cell phones or jump off the railings in the club, anything to get that crowd going, like up. Get it up. So it's bring the mood up, pump up the energy in the place. So that's my job through my bike. And you can check me out, Trevor Bodogh, anywhere in Google, YouTube. So what about my education? Do I have a brain in this head of mine? It's in there somewhere. So I went to Sheridan College, great school, learned a lot, went for 3 years for a finance program. Through it all, made a lot of great contacts of teachers, a lot of mentors, a lot of friends. But it helped me realize that I just wasn't a finance guy. I'm not a desk sitting guy like I am right here. So this is hard to do, but it's good. So
thank you for taking the time.
That's good. So Sheridan College taught me about myself, more so about what I need to learn in finance to become a banker, which is good. At the expense of my bank account, which suffered, I learned about myself, which is good. I've got another thing on that about education and pursuing your dreams, but we'll cover that one in another segment, all right?
Trevor will be conducting his own courses on YoungEntrepreneursHub.com, so if you guys want to check out a little more about what Trevor has to say, go to the site.
Stay tuned. So education is super important, but like you said, it's sort of a way of realizing something about yourself, which is even more important than the education itself. Your passion, your strength, your true natural ability, your unfair advantage in the world today. Who are you? What makes you you, right? So if I were to ask you a couple questions, are you Trevor the finance guy, or are you Trevor the extreme athlete who wants to be active and out in the sun all day? It's not the finance guy, it's the other guy, right? And when you're in school, you're forced to learn a lot of material. You're either going to go with it or you're not going to go with it. It's not going to stick in here. It's just going to bounce off.
Would you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
I create things. I've got ideas. Yeah, I think that's the whole essence of entrepreneurship, is having an idea, having a vision. I know vision's kind of a weird word. It's a deep word. It's an out there word, but you need to have a vision with anything you do. Just like with your business, Marcin, you have to have a vision of what kind of clients you want to serve and the kind of product you want to give them. So you got to start somewhere, right? It all comes from an idea. My idea was Metabike, or my idea was jumping off railings in nightclubs with my bike.
What do you think are the most important character traits that a person should have if they want to become an entrepreneur?
They should not want to live a normal 9-to-5 life, or rather, they shouldn't want to live someone else's 9-to-5 life, whether it's at McDonald's, Subway, or wherever, in any sort of corporation. I mean, there's entrepreneurship within those organizations, but if you are born an entrepreneur, you don't want to live by someone else's structured daily rules. You want to create your own path.
So you're saying that you're born an entrepreneur?
I didn't say that.
Do you think it's trainable?
I think it's discoverable, not so much trainable. I mean, I discovered it myself. How about you?
Well, this interview isn't about me, but I feel that there is a catalyst in every person's life, and there are opportunities that present themselves in front of everybody. I had a catalyst. I always knew that there was something about me that was different. I still knew that I needed to get a 9-to-5. It wasn't until I met my mentor till I was 20, that he showed me a different way of looking at life in the near future. But I mean, of course, I was starting little businesses ever since I was 14. There was this pattern that I've noticed about myself.
Yeah, so I don't think you were trained. I think you were just discovered through a whole bunch of experiences. You discovered it yourself, right? Just like how I discovered in school. Like I was trying to go down one path, but all these ideas and people and networking and learning led me down another in my own mind.
Right.
So I think that's what it's all about, is having lots of experiences, good and bad, deaths, births, successes, no money, and then you sort of come to these conclusions of, all right, well, I've either got an idea of how to get myself out of this, and I want to pursue that, such as with a business of your own, or, okay, time to go pound the pavement and get a job.
Let's go all the way back to where you're younger. Did you have dreams of being an astronaut, a fireman, or any of that, or did you think you're going to be a banker, since that is what you went to school for? Well, a business person.
A business, finance.
Sorry, I apologize to all the bankers out there. They are all wonderful, and I hope that you have my business one day.
Well done. Good correction. What did I want to be when I was 5 years old or 5 seconds old? I think the earliest recollection I ever have was to become a backhoe operator, dig ditches and holes and stuff like that, because I liked heavy equipment. It's practically like sitting in an office, but a very small office, a very cold office, or a very sweaty office, a very dusty office. So that's not my environment, but it's interesting to sort of look back and say, wow, things have changed.
And when you were in high school or elementary school, did you notice you started to have different ideas than everybody else?
No, definitely not. That was high school, grade school. Those were like blank times in my mind. I don't remember ever being stimulated by my parents or by my teachers. I think that's important though, the word stimulation. I mean, teachers can either just keep feeding all this material, or they can stimulate your mind to think about yourself. Like, who are you? What do you like to do? Or do your parents teach you how to play hockey? Or are you a master chess player? Mostly everyone knows about the Montreal Canadian guy. I think he's 19 years old, and he won $9 million in the poker championships a couple months ago. That's incredible, but that's a skill. That's his passion. That's who he is. Just like you're going to make $9 million selling your software, and hopefully I'll be somewhere to follow doing my bike shows.
Well, as long as I make $9, I'll be happy with that. Tell us more about what it is that you do. You being a professional athlete, tell us how you get clients for your business.
Being a person where I'm at right now, it's interesting. I read something recently on Sprouter. Being successful doesn't really relate to how much money I'm making. It's more so just feeling like, okay, my plate is empty. I don't have anything to do to go to the next step. And that's exactly how I feel. I mean, I feel like there's always something for me to do, whether it's update my website or learn something new, or follow up with people in my inbox, or make phone calls, or go train, or do this and do that. So, I mean, I don't think I'll ever be successful until the day I die. That means I'll always be growing and always be learning and always be pushing to the next level. And I hope that's what everyone else strives for.
Growing up, did you have any influences, business-savvy people around you?
I wouldn't say I knew I did, but my dad, he was certainly one heck of a hard worker. I didn't really learn enough about him until he passed away the past couple of years ago. Learning his business drive and how dedicated he was to his own family business as a lumber broker. He was an entrepreneur himself. Their company was grossing $9 million a year in sales for just lumber brokerage. So that was something I didn't even really know about until it was too late to really appreciate it, I think. He was my mentor in other ways. He pushed me to get into sports, kept me on a regimented schedule for when to have fun, when to play, and you gotta go up gradually. Start with the basics of having some discipline, and then you can get into someone who wants to teach you the ins and outs and fun stuff of business.
Talking about mentors, do you think it's important for anybody to have a mentor if they want to be an entrepreneur, or do you think learning from your experiences is the way to go?
Absolutely. I think having a mentor is great because they sort of blaze the path for you, before you. They've made the mistakes, they've done dirty work, and they can give you a huge leg up if you want to get into the same type of industry that they're in, or carve a niche, get their thoughts and strategies. So, I mean, finding a mentor is a little bit challenging and unknown at first, because think about it for a sec. Okay, I need to find someone who's going to be open-minded enough to listen to me for an hour a week or an hour a month and give me their personal, undivided, 100% attention to help me be all that I can be, in a sense, right? You can find a mentor through a lot of places, whether it's through school. That's where I found a couple of my mentors. That's where I'd say to start, really, because they're the ones who are really going to be able to measure your potential and your dedication by how well you do in your projects and attendance, even simple attendance. There's a number of ways, but I would say the easiest and first step for a lot of people or young entrepreneurs is school, college, high school. Do your best, and people will recognize that.
On a side note, because we are talking where to find a mentor, you can go to cybf.ca. That's a Canadian Youth Business Foundation. It's a national charity that provides pre-launching coaching, business resources, and startup financing and mentoring for youth of the age between 18 and 34. And I am myself one of the mentors for that association. So it's a great website to visit. Again, it's cybf.ca. Trevor, can you tell us what is your favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur?
I think the best aspect is simply just doing what you love to do. As an entrepreneur, you want to think a lot, and that's what we sort of tend to do, is overthink, keep ideas floating around all the time. And with that comes building something like from the ground up, like a cell phone. Someone had this crazy idea that you could walk around with a telephone in your hand. Someone actually told me about this the other day, and they called it the ear. In the 1800s or something, someone predicted that you'd be able to walk around with an ear and talk to this ear like this. So, I mean, it's all about having ideas and visions and being able to create something that's valuable to the world somehow. I think that's the best part, is being able to create something new and valuable.